Are you excited to get started selling on eBay, but just a little stressed out about the shipping process? Don't worry, you are not alone. In this video, I'm going to break down the shipping process and show you the basic tools that you need in order to get started shipping. No fancy equipment, no complicated steps, just the real deal to get you started with confidence. Hey friend, if you're new here, my name is Hope. My husband Michael and I are full-time eBay resellers. We are coming up on the 1-year mark, so we have survived the first year, and shipping was definitely one of the things that I was most anxious about in the beginning. Today I want to share with you the simple steps that we followed to get our shipping started and to keep it simple and not be a source of stress for me. I'm going to suggest that when you're just getting started, it's a good idea to stick to things that are a uniform size and shape. In our case, we are clothing resellers, so the majority of items that we ship are shirts and pants, and that's what we were shipping in the beginning. So we first started out with using poly mailers. Poly mailers are just basically a plastic envelope. In the beginning, we started out with a selection of 3 different sizes: 10 by 13, 12 by 15 and a half, and then we also bought a few that were 19 by 14 and a half. So in the 10 by 13 mailer, you're going to be able to ship things like men's button-up shirts, lightweight sweaters, some jeans, and simple khaki pants. For some of the heavier jeans, we sometimes need to move up to a poly mailer that is like a 12 by 15 and a half. Within those 2 sizes, we're usually able to get the majority of the items that we started out selling initially. Later, we moved on to shipping blazers and ties. I'll share how we ship those items in a different video. So once you do have your poly mailers, you're also going to need a couple of other things that you probably already have at your house. First, you're going to need some way to measure and weigh your items. I just keep a handy tape measure close by in my shipping station. And I initially started out with a simple kitchen scale. This is one that I happen to have on hand that I can see pounds and ounces, and there's also a tare button that allows me to zero out and make sure I'm starting off with a blank slate. You may also want to add a thank you note of some sort. Sometimes that may be a sticker. We currently use a sticker that we print off from our thermal printer, but we just recently started doing that. For the first probably 11 months, we printed out a simple thank you for supporting our business. We printed those out 4 to a sheet on just our regular home HP printer and slide it into the poly mailer with the item that we were shipping. It just encouraged the buyers to let us know if they were happy with their item and with our service, and if they were not happy, to please give us a chance to make that right. We've been very fortunate so far. We are 1 year in, and we currently have over 300 positive reviews. We've had a couple of negatives. That's always going to happen to most anybody, so we are learning to let that roll off, but it is still good to be able to get those feedbacks from your buyers, and sticking a thank you note with a reminder for them to do that is a great practice. So when you are setting your shipping rates, there are several things to consider. First is that you can list your items for sale and you can cover the shipping yourself. A lot of buyers are definitely drawn to free shipping. There are a couple of drawbacks with that, and one is that if you do sell something with free shipping and for some reason the item does not work out, the buyer is not happy or it doesn't fit or something and they want to return it, then you're going to have to reimburse them that full amount of the purchase price. So that basically means that you have covered shipping to go to them, and you've paid for shipping to come back, and you've reimbursed them for the full price of that. So we've chosen not to do our shipping that way. What we have chosen is flat rate shipping. And that's where we choose a flat rate, regardless of where the item is being sent inside the continental U.S. We charge one flat rate. So that means if something is shipped to a state nearby us, we might make $1 on the shipping. If the item is being shipped to, say, Los Angeles, California, we might potentially lose $1, but overall, we basically break even, so we've not changed that practice since the beginning. The way we figured our shipping is breaking down the items basically according to weight. Most shirts are going to be close to the same amount of weight, and most shirts we will ship for $5.97. That's the shipping that the buyer pays. It may not cost us that much, or it may potentially cost us a little bit more, but in general, like I said, we break even. On pants or heavier weight shorts, maybe, we typically will ship those for $6.97. Jeans, we are currently shipping at $8.97. We're typically able to get most pairs of jeans shipped for that amount, and so we've been pretty successful at keeping that rate so far. When we ship blazers, they're a little bit more expensive, and we ship them differently, not just in a poly mailer, but again, like I said, I will make another video about that and show how we did it. We didn't initially sell blazers, again, because I was a little anxious about how to pack it appropriately and that I might get the shipping messed up. So in the beginning, we just stayed away from blazers. Now, to come up with my shipping rates, I went to the eBay shipping calculator and I calculated what the shipping would be if I were sending an item ground advantage to a state close by us and a state further away, like say California. I saw what the range of costs would be from shipping to a close state to shipping to a state that was further away, and I picked a price that kind of fell in the middle of that. And again, that's so far has proven beneficial for us, and we've not had to up our prices yet. I'll add a link in the description below to that eBay shipping calculator. It's a great place to go and just play around with the numbers and see what things are going to cost you. I will encourage you to purchase your shipping through eBay. That's going to protect you, keep all the information on the website. Plus, when you purchase your shipping through eBay, you're going to end up with a substantial savings. I think that with ground shipping, we typically save 20 to 30% on what it would cost if we were to walk into the post office and purchase that ground shipping label in the post office. So it's really a good idea to do it that way. You can also choose to, I'm looking at the website right now, you can choose to ship through FedEx and through UPS as well. Again, you still will get a savings with those, but you can also take your item in to either one of those businesses and purchase your label and then upload your tracking number manually. You do want to include the tracking number and make sure that that stays in the eBay system so that the buyer can see and track the item, and you also will have proof that an item has been delivered. Another way to handle or calculate the shipping is to use eBay's calculated shipping. Now, in order to do that, you're going to need to know for each item that you're shipping what the size, weight, and dimensions are for the package when you make the listing. That way, a buyer can look at where they are and they have a rough idea of what the calculated shipping will be. eBay will calculate that for them. I have heard, and I don't know this for certain, but I have heard that eBay tends to calculate a little on the higher side. So most buyers are typically going to get a better deal on the shipping if the seller is calculating it themselves and giving them a flat rate. We have chosen to stick to USPS Ground Advantage. It's typically the cheapest price. It has worked for us in pretty much every situation. So far, we've not had an item lost. We have had a couple of occasions where a buyer reported that the item was not delivered when USPS, according to the tracking record, says that it is delivered. But typically, within 24 hours, the item was found. Maybe it was delivered to the wrong address, or another member of the household actually took possession of the item. We've been blessed so far, not had to file any claims, and not had to use the insurance that is provided with Ground Advantage. When you do have your first sale, in order to ship, you are going to go to eBay, click on the Seller Hub, and then go down to the Orders tab and scroll down to the tab that says Awaiting Shipment. When you hit that, it's going to show you all the items that you have that need to be shipped. Click on the Get Shipping label, and you're going to see under the package heading where you can enter the weight in pounds and ounces and the dimensions of the item. Now, when it comes to the weight, you do want to enter your pounds and ounces. I've been told a couple of different things by the post office. Some will say put in the exact weight in pounds and ounces, and some will say to round up to the next pound if it is over 1 pound. If your item is under 1 pound, you want to round up in ounces to the next ounce. So if your item is, say, 8.5 ounces, you want to round up to 9 ounces, but do not round up to 1 pound. So once you have entered your pounds, your ounces, then take the dimensions, the length, the width, and the depth at the highest point of your item and add those dimensions in. Once you add the dimensions in, you're going to choose the service that you want to use. Like I said, we use UPS or USPS Ground Advantage for the majority of the items that we ship. Once you've clicked that and you have your information in, you're going to see at the bottom of the page a total amount of what the shipping will cost you. When you're ready, click on that purchase shipping label, and it's going to purchase it from the funds that you have in your eBay account. So once you have clicked the purchase shipping label, you're going to see the label pop up on your computer. Once your label has printed, you're just going to use packing tape, fix that to the top of your package, and your item is ready to go. Again, this is the way that we did our shipping for the first roughly 9 to 10 months. Takes a little bit longer than it would if you had a thermal printer for your labels, but because we were slow, or because I was slow in the beginning, it really was not an issue for me to take the time to tape those labels onto the packages. Now that we're shipping a few more packages on a daily basis, the thermal printer that we currently have has been a real blessing, but it's definitely not something that you need to spend money on in the very beginning. So once your package is ready to ship, you have a couple of different options. One, you can contact the post office and you can schedule a pickup at your house. So it is possible to run an eBay business and actually never leave your house. You can purchase items online, you can sell them on eBay, and then you can do the packing in-house and have the post office come pick them up for you. It's definitely a very doable home business. We have found for our sanity, we just feel more comfortable with taking the packages to the post office on a daily basis. That way we control the time that they are shipped, and we also are able to hand deliver those packages to the clerk at the desk. Some post offices will allow you to just walk in and lay them on the counter and walk out, and you don't actually see them scanned in. That's totally up to you, but we just feel more secure when we know that we have handed the package to the clerk and we watch them scan them. And we come home with a receipt in our hand showing that we have delivered that item. That is just one more safeguard for our peace of mind. It just allows us to have a paper trail for knowing that we have handed the item off. There's no question about whether it was scanned or if it got misplaced. One little word of caution: if you are taking them in to be scanned, do watch and be sure that the clerk is actually laying each package on the scale and weighing it when they scan it. If they don't, sometimes they'll take one of the packages and put it on the scale and scan the other ones while that one package is still sitting there. Maybe not all clerks know this, but we discovered after getting chargebacks and credits to the postage that we had already purchased that something was not jiving. Like, what the scale said in the post office is not what our scale said at home. I thought it was my fault in the beginning, but then after weeks of watching this and trying to figure out what was going on, I realized that by looking at my receipt, that on a particular date, there would be like 5 packages that all had the same weight when I knew that was not the case, because a tie does not weigh the same that a pair of jeans weighs. So I knew that there was some kind of hiccup in there, dug a little deeper, and did find out that each individual item does need to be weighed and it does need to be scanned. So you might just want to watch that. So once your package is ready, you've dropped it off at the post office, you have completed your first sale and done your part in the delivery. That's a great feeling. And it's a really great feeling when you start to have multiples of those on a daily basis. Hopefully that is the case, and a number that you will get to see grow over time. I hope this video has helped to settle some of the tensions or the anxiety that you might have about shipping. We never know it all. There's always something fresh and new to learn, but I hope that this has been a really good basic start. For now, happy shipping, and we will catch you guys on the next one.